Good evening. Welcome to this forum for the Plover Village Board Ward 2 candidates, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of the Stevens Point area, the Stevens Point Area Senior High Student Senate, and the Portage County Business Council. My name is Meg Erler. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of the Stevens Point area, and I will be serving as the moderator for this event. The League of Women Voters is a political but nonpartisan organization. The League's primary purpose is to encourage voting by registering voters, providing voter information, and advocating for voting rights. Tonight's event is part of providing voter information through candidates sharing their views of issues of concerns to the Village of Plover residents. The co-sponsors of this forum, the SPASH Student Senate and the Portage County Business Council, are also nonpartisan organizations with no endorsement of candidates or political parties. Their interest is helping local citizens to be more informed voters. The Village of Plover, originally part of the Menominee Nation, is located on the Portage between the lower and the upper Wisconsin River. It was the first village, and in 1844, the first seat of government of the present Portage County. The village was platted in 1845, but it was not until 1857 that it was incorporated as a village. When Stevens Point replaced Plover as county seat, Plover was disincorporated. In 1912, Plover was again incorporated, but because of financial problems, it was dissolved shortly afterwards. Since the mid-1960s, movement to incorporate Plover was again activated and was successful in its goal in 1971. In all three occasions, the village was created out of the township of Plover. The Village of Plover is the most populated village in our county. The population of the Village of Plover is estimated at 13,519 in 2021. It covers 11.36 square miles. The 2022 budget for the Village of Plover was $10,477,935, with an ending fund balance of $5,800,363, with part of those funds assigned to restricted projects. There are 5 active TIF, tax incremental finance districts in the Village of Plover. The Village of Plover is a board comprised of a president and 6 trustees representing 3 wards. 3 trustees are elected each year. Elected officials serve 2 years on the village board. The board meets the first and second Wednesday of every month. Village trustees are compensated for their service at a rate of $250 per month. There are 4 candidates running for the open seat of Ward 2. The candidates are Tim Krzyzewski, Darcy Grabsky, Al Haga, and Sarah Lucchini. All candidates were invited to participate in this evening's forum, and they are all joining us this evening. To provide the most time to hear from the candidates and to provide a fair and equal opportunity to answer questions important to you in this community, I will review the format, time, and terms for this forum. This has also been reviewed with the candidates. Each candidate will first have 1.5 minutes to introduce themselves and make an opening statement. They will have 1.5 minutes to respond to the questions. They will also have 1.5 minutes to make a closing statement. I will repeat the question if requested. Candidates will respond first to some questions submitted by the League, the students of the SPASH Student Senate, and the Portage County Business Council, and then questions from the audience. Questions from the audience must be addressed to all of the candidates. If you want to submit a question, please motion to one of the ushers on either side of the room, and they will bring you an index card and a pencil to write your question out. The League reserves the right to review and screen questions for relevance and to avoid duplication. The timers are located in front of the candidates' tables. A green folder will be held up when their time starts. A yellow folder indicates 30 seconds remain, and the red folder means that time has expired. Candidates may finish their sentence, then please stop so the next candidate can begin their response. Candidates are asked to keep their remarks germane to the questions and fair to the participants. Audience members are requested to respect the candidates' time and responses. They are also asked to turn off any sound-making devices. The moderator reserves the right to interrupt to ensure that these ground rules are observed. The order of response to each question will be rotated. We will alternate which candidate answers the question first. The order of the opening and closing statements will be chosen by random drawing of the candidates' names. As I've already stated, participating in tonight's forum are Sarah Lucchini, Al Haga, Darcy Grabsky, and Tim Shashusky. We will now begin with 1.5 minute opening statement from each candidate. And I'm going to pull the first name from the hat, or the cup. So we will begin with Tim Shashusky.
Thank you. I would like to start out by thanking the League of Women Voters of the Stevens Point area, the Stevens Point Area Senior High Student Senate, Portage County Business Council, and all attendees for providing me the opportunity to share my diverse background and knowledge in all areas that affect the Village of Plover and its community members. Again, I am Tim Shashusky, 38-year resident of the Village of Plover. My wife and I reside in the center of Plover, Ward 2, off of Washington Avenue. We have 3 adult children, 3 grandchildren, with a 4th on the way, and soon to be here. I'm an experienced and accomplished leader that brings over 30 years of management and leadership experience. My leadership experience is a combination of both private industry and public service with the Village of Plover Fire and EMS Department. I have had the opportunity to serve the Village of Plover for over 30 years as a firefighter, emergency services provider. I have had the opportunity to watch the village grow and to work with several of the village's leaders. I worked diligently to serve the community and took an oath that guided my responsibilities. My education includes attendance at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point and Madison. Thank you.
The next statement will be by Darcy Grabsky.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Again, I'm Darcy. A little bit about myself. I grew up in the Fox Valley area, and after high school, I came over here to UW-Stevens Point. In that time, I met my husband, who is local to the area. He grew up here. After college, we decided to start our family here as well. We have 2 children, one here at Ben Franklin and one at Roosevelt. Both are really involved in local community organizations and sports. Our son is big into baseball, and so we spend a lot of time volunteering for Plover Whiting Youth Athletics, and our daughter is a figure skater, so Crystal Ice Figure Skating Club. When we're not doing that, I am currently employed at Skyward, and I have been with Skyward for 10 years. In that time, I've worked in the sales department. In my role at Skyward, I am a proposal team manager. In that role, I work a lot with a lot of different departments and collaborate to put projects together and deadlines. With that skill set, I'm hoping to bring that to the village board. Thank you.
Sarah Lucchini.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Lucchini and I reside at 2000 Ashford Drive here in the Village of Plover. I am married to my husband Anthony Lucchini, and we have 4 beautiful children, ages 13, 9, 9, and 8, all of which attend the Stevens Point School District. We're new to Plover. We actually relocated here from the Marshfield area in June of 2022. We came here for my husband's work, as he's the EMS chief here at the Plover Fire Department. We immediately fell in love with this community. Having 4 children, they immediately acclimated to the area. They are involved in sports, volunteer opportunities, a lot of extra curricular activities, and we were just welcomed by this community. Professionally, I've always served in the role of a public servant. I am a graduate of Mid-State Technical College as a paramedic. I worked as a critical care flight paramedic for many years, and I've transitioned now into my education, and I will be graduating soon with a bachelor's in science of nursing. I am employed at the Wood County Health Department as an emergency preparedness coordinator, and in that role, I work at the county level to integrate policies that will help prepare communities to be ready for a disaster and to help in the recovery. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to the first league question, and as I noted, we will begin, oh, I'm sorry, Al. Sorry, Al Haga.
I feel left out.
Sorry, Al.
Wow, I thought this was going to be really easy then. My name's Al Haga. I live at 2140 Norway Pine Drive in Plover. I've lived in Plover for 50 years of my adult life, and I believe, if not all of it, was in Ward 2. I married Teresa Sankey. I've been married for 37 years. I have 2 adult children, Nick and his wife Brianna. Nick's 36, and my son Ryan is 33. I have 4 grandchildren, Jace, Tanner, Emery, and Owen, and 2 granddogs, Boone and Jasper. So I've been involved in the Village of Plover at a fairly early age. I've been on the Village of Plover planning and zoning for almost 30 years. I've been a Portage County Supervisor for District 15, which represents a lot of Ward 2 in Village Plover, for 15 years. And in that capacity, I've been the County Board Chair for the past 5 years. I've sat on and chaired many committees, chaired Finance for 4 years, chaired Highway for 4 years, chaired Solid Waste for 4 years. I was the chairman of Land Preservation Committee for the Portage County when we created the Little Plover River Work Conservancy. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that, Al. We will now move into the first league question, and we will begin with Tim Krzyzewski. The first question is, Wisconsin state statute defines the role of village boards. How do you interpret your role as trustee within the village board?
My role would be to represent the Village of Plover and its residents in all aspects of the needs of the Village of Plover. I would take to heart all needs appropriately, whether those are identified needs or needs that I'm aware of, to address them in a manner that's professional and brings resolve. I've had the opportunity to work for the Village of Plover for 30 years. I've seen the opportunities. I've seen great leaders. I've seen folks that we wish were still with us. I know what we need. I know that sometimes the board doesn't know what we need. Have the opportunity to sit behind the scenes, learn, understand, and analyze those needs. So again, I would appropriately represent the village and all the needs of the residents in a manner that's best suited for the majority of the folks. Thank you.
And Sarah, you are answering second.
Thank you. My interpretation of the role of the village board is, particularly for what I will be doing, is gaining the trust of the community, having intentional conversations with people, ensuring that we are open to having diverse opinions and new ideas being approached to our village board. We know that Plover is a growing community, and therefore we have newcomers coming on a regular basis. So we need to be welcoming, and we need to be able to accommodate to the changes that are occurring within our community. I think that this is something that is built over time, and that we can only do that in collaboration with the people in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Al Haga.
So I'm managing a little different way as a trustee. I think that listening to the people and being a good steward of the tax dollars, I go out and I see the people in the village that are working, and a lot of times I'll stop and chat with them. You'd be surprised at what you can find out and what things are the neighbors are talking about or the employees are talking about that could be done better or looked at a little bit different. And I think that's a big part is listening, being open-minded, and wanting to explain and spend some time explaining, because a lot of times people talk to other folks and they don't have all of the information that they need or aren't aware of a lot of the facts. So I think a big part is being out there and being accessible and talking to the people in the neighborhood. Now, tonight, just in this forum, I met two of my new neighbors. I've known Tim for a while, but I met two new neighbors, so I look at that as a plus in tonight's debate. So thank you for that.
Darcy.
Thank you. To be part of the village board would be so exciting. As Sarah mentioned, the village is growing rapidly, and it is a very exciting time to live where we live. We've been in the community for 17 years, and we've come to love the area in which we live and work. So I think as part of the village board, my overall goal would be to learn the overall health of the village and then make a point to listen to the community. Thank you.
All right, we will move into our next question. And again, we'll be starting, each time I'll start with somebody new, so everybody gets a chance to go first, second, third, and hopefully fourth. So the next question is, what do you see as your working relationship with the village president? And that will be Sarah. We'll start with us.
So our working relationship with the village president is vital. I do believe, though, that we should be viewed as one team and that our village president is a conduit within the works of the village. We need to ensure that we have clear, concise communication and that we take into account all of our community members' opinions and what their values are, and that when we bring that up to our village board and our concerns, that then it would go to our village president, that we do believe that executive decisions will need to be made, but we have to keep community interest in mind. Thank you.
And Al Haga?
I would hope that it's a very open communication. The way I like to do things is get input from as many different areas or people as I can, try and get all the facts, do my due diligence, and share in my thoughts and listen to others. And I would hope that that would be along with the president as well, to the point where if I had a question or concern, I'd pick up the phone and call them, have a chat with them. I believe that what I've seen from the village board in the past, it's always worked well together. Doesn't seem to be a lot of infighting, and I often said that Plover was the gold standard for a lot of those things, but and a little biased because that's where I've lived most of my life, but they do things well, and I'm not looking to change any of that. I think that we can just continue to do what we're doing, and we'll be in good shape. Thank you.
Darcy Grabsky.
In my current role at Skyward, I tend to work a lot and collaborate with a lot of different departments, so it takes a lot of asking questions and a lot of learning. With that, I think I would envision this relationship being very similar, asking a lot of questions, doing a lot of learning, and then seeing where I can provide the most benefit overall. Thank you.
And Tim Krzyzewski.
Open lines of communication will bring good things. Networking, not only with the village president, but the rest of the board members. I'd walk in with no agenda. I would work for a common goal in a team environment. I would be data driven, and I would share those experiences with the village president in an effort to improve or continue to grow all of the good things that the village has to offer. Thank you.
Our next question is, there is a great deal of development in Ward 2. How do you view attraction and retention of businesses in that area with continued support of the residential neighborhood? And we will start that question with Al.
So I think that one of the things that Plover does really well is work with developers. Our staff, I believe, has a meeting, pre-construction meeting. They talk over all the things that they would expect to see with a developer. They have most of the asks all ironed out, all the things that are required ahead of time, so that when it comes to the board or the planning and zoning, that most of those questions are already worked out. I know Plover has a past history or a strong presence among the folks that are developers and construction that love working with the Village of Plover, and that is part of Dan Mahoney's legacy, and I hope that continues to carry on, and that's one of the reasons that I raised my hand to run for Ward 2, was to ensure that that continued to carry on, because I feel so strong about that. But Plover does a great job working with developers, communicating with them, and having a great collaboration, and word of mouth about that has spread. Thank you.
Darcy Grabsky.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. There is a great deal of development in Ward 2. How do you view attraction and retention of businesses in that area with continued support of the residential neighborhood?
Thank you. I would envision this as increasing communication to all of the wonderful things that are happening in the village right now. Just when we walk the dog, even on a daily basis, and run into our neighbors to chit chat, we're always talking about the exciting things that are happening. So increasing overall communication, I think, is going to be great, so that residents have a better understanding of what's happening in the neighborhoods. Thank you.
All right, and Tim Krzyzewski?
We need to continue to sell the village and continue to do the things that makes the village a great place. We need to balance the needs. We need to maintain open and ongoing communications with the developers. We need to be clear in our expectations, not only in the time of the build, the growth, but expectations for the future. How do we maintain that growth? How do we maintain those facilities to uphold and be at the same level of what we expect within the Village of Plover, the wonderful community we have currently? Thank you.
Sarah?
I would work to encourage to support local entrepreneurs in our community. It's important that we are able to support their American dream and building their own businesses and establishing that for their families here within Plover. I also do agree that we work well with developers, and that is a testament to the growth within our community. Although I would strive for affordable and equitable housing for all. Currently, we are actually in a housing crisis where people cannot afford the current houses that are available. So we need to ensure that people that are in the housing market can find a home that is comfortable for their financial needs. I also understand that retention means that taxes need to stay affordable. If we're going to make tax increases, they need to be incremental, and that we need to be transparent about the changes that are occurring prior to them happening. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a question from the audience that's coming up here. What are two key issues you see facing Plover? How would you address them? And I will note, if members of the audience would like to submit, again, people are on the sides of the room and you can write a question out for them. So again, I'll go back. What are two key issues you see facing Plover? How would you address them? And this one we will be starting with Darcy.
Thank you. As Sarah mentioned in her previous, tax increases do need to be incremental, and we are in a housing crisis. That would be one thing that I think is facing the village at this time, is just increasing awareness and what's going on and where our tax dollars are going. I also think that another important item facing the village at this time is the state of the parks. The last time the village had updated the comprehensive plan was in 2015. The young families of our village really rely on these spaces to bring their families. A recent survey had gone out, which I noticed in the Point Plover Metro Wire, which I think is a great step in the right direction. Thank you.
Tim Krzyzewski.
Two of the key issues that I see currently are the facility and space needs. The Village of Plover has facilities that are aging. The municipal building currently is in need of upgrades. All departments across the village are in need of space. We need to look to upgrade facilities and provide what those departments need to perform the things they do on a daily basis correctly. In addition, I see some opportunities related to new staff, specifically in the HR, human resources area. As the village grows, this is an area that we're behind on. The village does a great job with utilizing resources outside of village staff, but I think bringing somebody in-house to manage and educate both our leaders as well as our staff would be important. Thank you.
And Sarah Lucchini.
So priorities or topics of interest right now from some conversations I'm having with members in our community is obviously the tax increases that had occurred within Ward 2 over the past year. Like I mentioned previously, it's important to have transparency and to have conversations with members in the community, having open forums, having listening sessions, focus groups, figuring out what can we do to continue to keep our taxes lower, but make it affordable so that families want to relocate to this area or remain in this area. So that would be a priority. Another one is the growth. It's important for us to develop a sustainability plan. We need to ensure that with the influx in our population, we are able to support all of the people that are coming here. That would mean looking at our infrastructures, supporting our roadways, supporting all of the jobs and positions that are needed at the village in order to support our community. Also to increase healthcare access and for business access, and to ensure that our schools have the correct population and staffing needed in order for our children to grow and thrive.
Thank you. And Al Haga.
One of the items, and I think we've all touched on it, was the taxes part of it. With the reassessment of all the properties in Plover, I found myself in the office talking a couple times about different situations and trying to get educated on it as well. It is a very complicated process for everyone to understand. And when people bring it up to me, I always use it as an opportunity to try and educate somebody on how the process works. They may understand it, but they still don't like it, and it's a tough problem. The other one is that with our older subdivisions and things in the area, we've added swales, and those have been kind of a hot topic for some of the people. And again, I use it as an opportunity to explain to them the purpose and the reason of it. And you know, again, they understand it. They're still not happy, but they understand it and accept it. I actually had to reach out to two of our trustees because I thought two things that were wrong, and it's like, I hate sounding like a broken record, but it's like, unless I'm really missing something, I don't know if we have a lot of things that anybody's really too upset about, which is a great place to be. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, we are now moving into our closing statements. The closing statement is an opportunity for the candidates to comment on topics not covered in the questions. The order of the closing statements will be chosen by random drawing once again, and each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to present a closing statement. And we will be beginning with Al Haga.
I want to thank everybody that came out tonight and anybody that'll watch it. I always encourage everybody to get involved in government. I am amazed at the young folks that are here tonight that are participating in it. When I was their age, there was this type of thing was nowhere near on my radar or anything I wanted to be involved in or interested in. So I think it's great to see that kind of involvement, and these are our future leaders. So that's great and very encouraging to see. I have had conversations with many people, and they've asked me why I decided to run for Ward 2. I'm a relatively involved person now. And I said, I I believe that Plover is in a good position. I believe I have things to offer to the Village of Plover. I have made a lot of contacts and connections and associates and within the community as well as in Madison. And those are all things that can come back to help the Village of Plover and help all the residents. I am a good steward of the tax dollars. I have always made sure that we watch the spend. There are certain things that are unfortunate that are necessities that we have to spend money on, but to make sure that we're spending it in a good way and in a manageable way. I'm always conscious of that as well. My years of experience, I would hope, would be somewhat of a resource for the village. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tim Krzyzewski.
I've had the opportunity to serve the community for over 30 years as a firefighter and EMS provider. I have worked through the effects of our floods, windstorms, and other events that affected the Village of Plover. This was done in an effort to ensure our community members were safe and to restore order to our daily routines. I commonly worked 12 to 16 hours a day because I love serving the community. I had 30 years to see, observe, and identify not only the things our great community provided, but to also recognize the opportunities we need to improve. I can honestly say during my 30 years of service to the community, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into everything I did to better our community and the lives of the community members. I am not your typical political candidate. Instead, I am an individual who reviews, analyzes, evaluates, and forms decisions based on what is in the best interest of the community and its citizens. I have the emotional intelligence to manage and lead, and the experience to support it. Vote for the leadership and dedication you expect. Vote for someone who knows the village needs. Vote for Krzyzewski. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Lucchini.
Thank you. My vision is to connect and collaborate with the residents and businesses within Plover. I plan to create a strategic plan to support the growth of our communities, to support our public safety, as that is a previous passion of mine, to ensure that we're well equipped to prepare, respond, and recover from emergencies. I also plan to keep taxes low and stable within our village. I also do hope to connect with everyone, so please like our page on Facebook. It's Sarah Lucchini for Village Board. I hope to collaborate and connect with all of you there. I just wanted to say thank you to the League for hosting this, especially our SPASH Student Senate. It's very important for our youth to be active and to be connected with these things. I also do lead a youth advocacy group in Wood County, and I do believe that youth voices are very important. I am thankful for the Portage County Business Council, as we need our businesses to remain in Plover and to support them well. And I just want to ask you for your vote, please, on April 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the candidates for the time and energy they have invested in running for...
Meg, you did it again.
All right. I am so sorry. I pull it out of the cup and then I forget to put it down. I'm sorry, Sarah Lucchini.
I'll let Darcy
I'm
Darcy.
sorry.
Yep.
Grabsky.
Thank you. I said it before and I'll say it again, but with strong family roots in the village of Plover, we have come to love the area in which we choose to live, work, and raise our children. Being involved with different community organizations has allowed me to gain a unique perspective. I'm hoping to take those experiences and build on them by becoming part of the village board. This is an exciting time to live in Plover and the continued growth we have been experiencing. I'm hoping to bring a fresh perspective while working harmoniously with the more experienced board members. I hope to build relationships and expand the knowledge over the course of the term if elected. Thank you.
Thank you, and I apologize.
You're making us feel
For
very
some reason, I
comfortable.
can't do this, newfangled cup system. It's just not working.
You're making us feel very comfortable.
All right. All right, thank you to the candidates for the time and energy they have invested in running to serve on the Village of Plover Board of Trustees, and for participating in this forum and for putting up with this moderator. Each candidate has done a wonderful job, and we truly appreciate you putting your hat in the ring for this important community service. Feel free to stay to talk with the constituents after. On the April 4th ballot, Portage County voters will also be voting for several other offices, including Justice of Wisconsin Supreme Court, Wisconsin Court of Appeals District 4, Wisconsin Circuit Court Branch 1, Stevens Point Area School District Board, Plover Village Board President, which will be happening right after this, so stick around, Stevens Point Mayor, and Stevens Point Alderpersons. Also on the ballot are 3 statewide ballot measures. One is to authorize the state legislature to define serious harm in relation to the conditions a judge imposes on an accused person released before conviction. A second authorizes judges to impose cash bail on an accused person of a violent crime based on circumstances like the need to protect the community from serious harm and the probability the accused will not appear in court. The third advises the state legislature to require able-bodied childless adults to look for work in order to receive taxpayer-funded welfare benefits. Stevens Point voters will also see 2 road referendums on the ballot totaling $4.2 million for routine maintenance projects. The League of Women Voters of Wisconsin has a candidate guide for the Wisconsin Supreme Court election, which may be found at vote411.org. myvote.wi.gov also provides information about the April 4 elections and the voting process. League contact information, including our website, email, and mailing address, is available out in the hallway on the League table. This concludes the forum for our Ward 2 Plover candidates. Thank you, candidates and audience, for your participation and attention. We also wish to thank Dan Bomowski back there, who's operating our camera. He has taped the forum. He works for us at the Stevens Point Area School District, does a great job always. We will be replaying the forums on the Stevens Point Area School District website and stevenspoint.com/YouTube. These broadcasts are an appreciated service to area citizens and are widely viewed. And we encourage you to encourage others in your community to take a look at those to our forum if they were not able to be here this evening. Thank you to the League members, student senators, and members of the Portage County Business Council who volunteered in various roles this evening to make the forum possible. We couldn't do it without all of them. Thank you also to the League members and student senators and members of the Portage County Business Council who put an awful lot of time prior to this into developing the questions for the forum, reaching out to the communities, reaching out to the school district to make sure they were answering the questions that were important for the voters to hear about at our forums. Thank you to the staff at Ben Franklin Junior High School for their assistance and for the use of this auditorium. The League believes that when you vote, you are participating in one of the most basic and important responsibilities you have as a citizen. When you vote, you are empowering your political voice. Please remember to vote on April 4th. Your vote does count. And now let us show our appreciation to the candidates and have a good evening.